So what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today we're here with Jamila Swopes. Now, I saw her story on Instagram where she had got let go from her job for supporting, the protests and Black Lives Matter, and say, okay, well, what's going on with this? This company, made this sister lose her job for something that she shouldn't have lost her job for, especially all these corporations are saying they are supporting Black Lives Matter. So, Jamila, thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so Jamila, like I said, before we get into, the story, what, we read and why we reached out to you, can you tell people just a little bit about yourself, before we get into that?
Oh, yes. I'm a 25-year-old licensed physical therapist assistant. I live in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and I was working at Gulf Coast Physical Therapy in Gulfport, Mississippi. And I don't have any kids. I'm not married. I love to travel, but of course with COVID going on, that has stopped me. And yeah, that's pretty much me, the background of me.
Oh boy, Jamila, you said you had no kids, you're not married. These guys may be emailing you after this.
Oh.
Some of these guys are like, what's that sister name, Phil? And I'm like, oh boy, okay, you go talk to her yourself. We'll give her the Instagram later. So Jamila, so you got into you went to college for physical therapy?
Yes, I went to Meridian Community College, graduated in 2016. I went straight from high school, 2013 to 2016, graduated, and I've been working in the field since 2016. So it just made 4 years.
Okay. So how's the climate, with jobs, especially in that field for, Black Americans?
It's not many of us, honestly. In my class, it was only 14 of us total. And out of the 14, 3 of us were Black that graduated. And then since I've been working, most of the time, I'm the only Black physical therapist assistant in therapy. Of course, working in nursing homes, you have other type of what's the word? Not discipline. Yeah, other disciplines like nurses and CNAs and whatnot. But for therapy, it is a known thing that, there's not many of us Black people working in therapy.
Well, why do you think that is like that?
They make it really hard to get into school, first off. It's very competitive as far as grades. And as far as going in, I think it's not that they don't hire Black people with physical therapy. I just think that the schooling, getting into school is extremely difficult because I know a lot of like Black athletes that, after they're done, doing sports, doing their playing in college, they try to do therapy and they just can't get in because their grades don't meet it or different activities or the interview. It's always something to where, like, when I talk to other Black males and females, that it makes it difficult for them to get in. So I think it's just the schooling process, honestly.
Now, do you think it's like that? Let's say, or maybe you had some friends somewhere else. Is it the same level of difficulty, or it's just maybe in that area?
I think it's healthcare for sure. Like healthcare. I can't speak for any other discipline, but I know as far as even, trying to be a doctor and getting into nursing school, a lot of the programs are very competitive, very just meticulous about small things to where it makes it difficult for people. If you don't have all your stuff together, it makes it difficult to get in.
Okay, so the main question I was trying to get at it was, do you think you would have more of a chance of using in Atlanta or Houston with physical therapy?
As far as schooling, or
like as far as like jobs, career path, things like that?
Definitely. The opportunities here for work are very minimal, and the diversity of it is poor. Like I say, most of the time I'm the only Black person working in therapy. If we see somebody else, it's like a big thing because it's like, that's not normal. But I think in Atlanta, any other bigger city, for sure, it would be better as far as the diversity and as far as job wise too, like more jobs, having better job opportunities.
Okay, so in those jobs, You know, now how do you feel when you work those jobs being the only black person, you know, in the room? Like, do you feel like added pressure? How do you feel?
Honestly, it never bothered me because I grew up in a school, you know, that not was predominantly white, but the majority was white. And so I'm just used to being around, you know, white people, and I have a lot of white friends. Um, so it never, like, I never looked at it as a color thing. It never actually affected me a certain way until this happened to me, and I was just like, oh wow, okay. So, you know, I knew it always existed, but it's just different when it hits home, you know, like when it actually happens to you.
Well, it's quite interesting you said that because it's like, okay, you live in Mississippi, and Mississippi has been one of the most famous states, you know, with the civil rights movement, the Klan, etc. So the whole time you've been in Mississippi, you say you never ran into that, anything like that?
Have, but it's never affected me. Like, it's always, you know, you go into your eating, and you know, certain people look at you a certain way, or your friends' parents say certain things like, oh, they can't talk to a black boy, or you know, it's always certain things like that. But it's always been like brushed on my shoulder. Like, it's never just been a direct, like, outward attack on me as a black female or me as a black person, African American. It's never been so outwardly directed to me, um, that I've come across.
Okay, so basically, because I have a friend, like say he was telling me like in Mississippi, a lot of people just kind of go with the flow a little bit with how some of the people are. Is that kind of
It's
safe?
kind of just like you're used to it. Like I said, I grew up where, you know, sixth grade, fifth grade, you know, having white friends, and you know, they're like, oh, you don't act like the rest of the black girls, and oh, you know, like making sly remarks, and you're young being exposed to that, so you're just like, okay, this is not that. Well, yeah, it's like you're normal. You're like, okay, well, I mean, this is what it is, type of thing. So you just let it go and just go about life until, you know, you see like, okay, this is actually something bigger, and you know, this isn't right.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying is, you know, from a young age, a lot of let's say people like yourself, let's say even in your city or state, you basically you become conditioned to deal with racism and white supremacy.
Definitely. And it's very passive aggressive, and it's very like microaggressions in a sense, to where it's like I say, for me, I've never just heard anybody like call me a nigger, or just call me out my name, or just be racial like that. Even in my situation, that's not what happened. But you know, like you said, you just become conditioned to where, okay, you're aware that we're different. What they're saying, they're treating me different, but you just like, okay, well, this is how it's supposed to be, or this is just how it is here.
Okay, so let me ask you another question. If and we're gonna get into what happened, but if you had another opportunity somewhere else, like say a bigger city, or somebody say, hey, Jamila, we got this job over here for you, physical therapy, would you be open to something like that?
Oh, definitely. I always wanted to get out of Mississippi. Like, I've traveled so much, I've been everywhere, and my goal has always been to, you know, move out. But I just, being so young, I try to be wise, and I try to be smart. So I never want to do anything abrupt, and I like to pray about everything. So if the opportunity presented itself, I would definitely be there. Like, I always
Okay.
want.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you said it. Let's talk about your situation that happened. So walk us through, what happened, at your job.
Okay, so on June 1st, um, it was Monday, June 1st, coming from the weekend, going into work. It's a normal day, everything. I had one patient in the morning, uh, did that. And then about 11 o'clock, 11:15, I had a patient come in, and my boss had a patient come in too. Well, he had an eval, so he wasn't in the gym, and our tech was working with his patient. So I'm the only African American there, the only uh, Black female, the only minority, period. Like, the patients were white as well. So everybody's white that's in here. A conversation has started up with my boss's patient that my tech is working with. And she starts talking about everything that's going on. So she makes a comment and she says, everything that's going on, the rioting and the looting, has taken away from the astronauts taking off. So I guess that Sunday or that Saturday, the astronauts went into space. They launched or whatever, and she was complaining, saying that all of the rioting and the looting was taken away from that. And so she said that, and it was quiet. And my coworker, the tech, decides to engage in that conversation. She was like, yeah, all this that's going on, it's come here to Mississippi. She was saying how in Petal, the mayor made some statements and they were protesting against him. And so she was like, they had to shut the new mall down because they're scared that the workers are going to get hurt, that the rioters and the looters are going to hurt the workers. So they had to shut the mall down. And then the patient goes on to say something like, oh, well, they need to be careful. And she was like, well, that's what they'll deserve, because all that, rioting and looting, that's what happens with that. And she keeps going on, and she goes to say, I'm so scared. She says, I'm so glad I'm not in DC anymore, because she had went to DC, was able to go do a travel assignment, leave work. She left us during quarantine to go do that travel assignment. Then he allowed her to come back. She still had her job when it failed, when whatever happened, and she was able to come back. She's like, I feel like that was a blessing, and I just don't understand why all of this is going on. I don't understand. So I was quiet the whole time. I'm cleaning. I'm like normal. I try to stay busy because this isn't the first time that they make statements that make me feel uncomfortable. So I'm just like, okay, let me just be quiet, all before. But then when she starts to say she doesn't understand why it's going on, like something in me is just like, yeah, you do, because, everybody saw that. Everybody saw what happened. And so I was like, his patient starts looking at me. So I look at her, and then I look at my coworker, and I say, well, an innocent, unarmed Black man was murdered by a white police officer. He wasn't arrested, and they're upset. That's why they're protesting, because they kept saying rioting and looting. And I wanted to educate and emphasize that it's not just rioting and looting that's going on. And this is why they are rioting and looting, and protesting. This is why it's all going on. So I say that, and it gets really, really quiet. And then my other coworker, the receptionist, comes from behind and it's like, well, that doesn't excuse the rioting and looting. So I'm like, okay, so it's going to be this type of conversation. So I was just like, of course, it doesn't excuse it. I'm not saying I agree with that, but if you just don't understand their stance and understand why they're upset, just don't say anything. And then it was quiet. I said, I'm the only Black person in here. It's disrespectful. Just don't talk about it. It gets quiet again. And then my coworker says, well, he was arrested. So then I'm like, well, 4 to 5 days after the protest, the rioting and the looting started, And so then my other coworker jumps in and she's like, well, innocent white lives are being taken every day too. And I looked at her and I said her name and I said, let's not act like there's not a racism problem here in America. Let's not do that. So then she looks at me and she gets real red and she's just like, Jamila, stop. And I'm like, stop what? Stop telling the truth. And she just got real quiet and everybody got quiet. It was nothing more like as far as the conversation after that. Then his patient gets ready to leave and the tech walks her to the door, walks her out the door. And they're in the front, all in the front together. And I see her turn and she's saying something like, Jesus Christ. And I'm like, yeah, you can call him because what you're doing isn't right. What you're saying and everything you're doing is not right. And so she just kind of looks at me and they don't say nothing more to me. So then the rest of the story, like the second part of it, I still have my patient. So the whole time he's a white male, he's hearing everything that's going on. He's in the midst of it. So I decide to confront what just happened. And I apologize to him. I say, I just want to apologize not for what I said, but I want to apologize for the animosity and the confrontation, the atmosphere right now, because, I said, she's scared. She says she's scared, but as a African-American woman, I have I have a brother, I have a dad, and any day to know that could be them, I'm scared. We're scared. It's a difficult time right now. And he's like, oh yeah, of course, I understand. So he was fine. I treated him, everything was normal. Like he laughed, like he left fine. I could tell like he didn't feel any way against me or he wasn't upset about anything. So I go to lunch and I can't eat. I don't eat. I sit in the car because I'm just like, I can't believe, because now I've been there 6 months and it's been certain things, but it's never been anything like that. And I'm just like, I can't believe that they came at me like that. And they really aren't taking the time to try to understand, number one, how I feel. Number two, what's really going on in the world right now, as far as, you know, racial issues and police brutality. I just couldn't understand that they just didn't care about that. So as I'm eating, I see them running from the back room, wherever they're eating lunch, either it's the front office or the back room, to his office. Back and forth, back and forth. I'm seeing that. I'm on the phone with my mom, my sister, my friend, and we're talking and they're just like, yeah, be prepared for a meeting, you know. And I'm like, yeah, we do. A meeting does need to happen because, you know, this needs to be discussed, you know, what happened. So I get ready to go back into lunch and I'm preparing myself for a talk. There's no talk. There's nobody comes to me. They don't come to me. They don't say anything to me. He doesn't come to me. He doesn't say anything to me from 1 till 3:50. I have 3 patients left. I treat my patients. I don't bring up to my patients anything that happened. I don't act no different. I don't act like anything happened. You know, it's normal. So I'm like, okay, I guess we just gonna act like it didn't happen type of thing, which, like I said before, is kind of like how it is here. Things get brushed under the rug. You just like, you know, whatever. So I go to my desk. It's the end of the day. I'm doing my notes and I'm finished and I'm on my phone. At the end of the day, normally he'll let us go early if we're done. So I'm kind of just waiting for him to say, okay, you know, y'all can go. Well, he turns to me. Our desks were faced opposite. So he turns towards me. My back is to him. And he's like, are you finished for the day? And I say, yes. And he said, have you finished all your notes? And I'm like, yes, sir. He says, well, so as he starts saying, well, immediately I'm like, okay, something isn't right, because I feel like he's going to try to address what happened, but I didn't feel like it was right that he was going to address it with just me being there. So I start recording because I didn't feel like that was right, number one. So I go to my phone. He watches me go to my phone and I click record because I just feel like I knew he was going to bring that up. I didn't know what he was going to say, but I just wanted evidence that this isn't right. When the conversation was all three of us need to be, you know, in here. So he starts saying, well, every day as a business owner, I have to make difficult decisions. And today I am deciding it is your last day. And I was just like, I was like, okay. He's like, you can turn in your timesheet. You'll be paid for today. Turn in your key and let's not make. And so he's like, let's not make. I don't know what he was trying to say, but I cut him off and I'm like, okay, what did I do? What is the reason why you're letting me go? And he's like, it's my business, it's my company, and because I can. And so that's where the audio that I have put on my Instagram, on my Facebook, that's where it is. And the whole 8 minutes, basically, I'm just trying to get him to give me a reason as to why, you know, he decided at this day, like I said, Friday that day, I worked, everything was fine. I come from the weekend, it's a normal day. So what did I do today? It's not like it's been a week. We didn't get to work a full week. What did I do during these 8 hours? Well, 7.5 hours that made you to decide today to let me go? So I'm like, is it my hair? I had just changed my hair. I'm like, is it unprofessional to you? Did a patient complain? You say what?
I hate to interject. Why did you tell him, is it my hair? Why did you say that?
I said that because unfortunately, as an African-American woman, I know that my hair can intimidate white people, some white people. I'm not going to say all white people, but I know how that is in the business world, especially in the medical field. Most of the time before I had changed, I just had black hair. It's natural. I didn't put any, you know, perm or chemicals in it or anything. And so I will always have to brush it back to like slick it back, like for interviews, or just be conscious about what it is for what event. So if it's just a normal work day, okay. But if it's like it's a function or it's an interview, it's like I have to think, okay, how do I want to present? Because I already know how it is. Unfortunately, it's just like that's how it is. Like they say certain things about our hair and they feel intimidated. So when I did my change that Friday before, I didn't think about none of that. I was just ready for a change, whatever. And it wasn't until I was getting ready for work that I thought, and I was like, okay, this, I think I need to prepare myself for a conversation if somebody says something to me that makes me feel uncomfortable or that questions my hair. And it's unfortunate that it's 2020 and hair is an issue, just like it's unfortunate that skin color is an issue. But that's something that I was aware about and that I always try to prepare myself for in advance. And so that's basically why I asked him that, because I know even though it's wrong, like it would be wrong if I was to judge somebody off hair. It would be wrong if a Mexican person, a Spanish person, it's wrong, period. But I already know, like, okay, white people look at, Afro type hair a different way. So yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question. How have you been to any other major cities in the U.S. outside of?
Oh yeah, I've been
Okay.
to New York. I've been to DC. I've been to California.
Okay, you've been
Dominican,
around.
Costa Rica.
Cool.
Yeah, I've been everywhere.
So the question I have for you is this: when you went to these other cities, the vibe was different, right?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so you saw the Black people; they were moving, shaking, doing different things.
Definitely.
So the question I have, and this is what happens to a lot of us, even from my hometown. Why is it that if you did all this traveling, because a lot of Black people don't even travel to the U.S., but you actually did some traveling. How did you end up staying in that town in Mississippi, being literally subjected to racism and oppression, microaggressions, anything you want to say, you're being subjected to? Because we put up with this stuff as Black people and say, well, my hair, because hearing you say that, I understand what you're saying, because I know I trust my report on this stuff.
It makes
all
you feel
the time.
uncomfortable, don't it?
But it just pisses me off to the core, because you don't have Miss Ann in there. You know what I mean? Walking there saying, "Oh, I got to worry about my hair today because I can get fired." You understand? I mean, simple things like that with hair to come out of your head can actually, it is oppressive.
Yes.
To you as a Black woman or other Black women or even Black men that may have, dreads or any kind of natural hairstyles.
Definitely. It's definitely disgusting. It makes you feel, like you say, it makes you upset, and then it just makes you, just like the color of your skin is something you can't help. But it's something I've always been, ever since I went natural, that I've been aware of, by how, and not by people necessarily saying anything to me, but how people look at me and treat me differently when my hair is, in its natural curly state. And so, like, to answer your question about why, I travel everywhere and didn't get to move. I'm 25, so I'm still pretty young. And I've been working for 4 years. So before the 4 years, I was staying at home trying to save money. And that's what I did. I traveled. So I worked for a full year. And then after that full year, I stayed at a place for a full year and I left. And I would go to, do a travel assignment here in Mississippi. I would take time off, go travel, stay, go to DC, stay some, go to New York, go wherever. And it wasn't until last year that I started feeling like I just wanted to kind of settle down a bit. And I actually thought about moving to Florida, but what stopped me was I wanted my family. Like, I wanted to make sure everything that I was doing was going to be done right. And I just didn't want to jump off and go somewhere where I didn't know people and didn't have any connections. And, I know a lot of young people do that. That's the crazy thing, like what I kept battling, because most young people, they grow up in a small town, or like you say, grow up in a place like this. And that's the first thing they do. Like, a lot of my friends, they went off and never thought about it. But it's just my personality type. I like to plan and I like to be really like set a certain way. And I was comfortable. Like, here, the living is low, like the cost of living is low. And so I was comfortable with the money I was making and being able to go and do and just not feel like, oh, I have to do certain things to like make a living for myself with no support around me. And so my goal was to, get my own place, which I bought a house here in Hattiesburg, and, work and save, get kind of established. And then, 2 to 3 years after that, move off. So I don't know. I've always been a planner. I think it's just my personality type, but even since high school, the career I've done, everything's been like planned, written down by the book. So I kind of just was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. And I'm a very tough individual too, very strong minded. So what I set my mind to, like, I'm gonna do. So, you know, even if I'm dealing with certain things, I'm the type of person that stuff don't affect me. Like, I don't care. I'm getting money at the end of the day. I know who my God is. I know who I am. People don't affect me. So it never bothered. It's not like I was walking around hurting on the inside by what anybody say or anybody do at work. It's work. You know, they say certain things, whatever they say, I go home and it's left. Like, I don't care about anybody else, because that's just my personality. I don't take too many things personal. But in this case, you know, the way I had to deal with it and the way it went down, it showed me, it really opened my eyes, and it really showed me that, you know, what I had been doing in certain instances was not okay. And it's not okay because they're afforded their freedom of speech. They're afforded, like you say, to not have to worry about how their hair is or not have to worry about how they talk. One of my coworkers there, she used to talk about her business all the time. And, you know, as African Americans, as Black people, we know we have to be 150% better all the time. So me, it's always professional. It's always, you know, we're not going to talk about my business. We're going to do work, because it's like you have to be one up from them. And like you say, it's to the point, for me at least, with what's happened to me, I'm not doing that anymore. I feel like in order for us to do change, we have to start acting according to how we want to be treated and how we know we should be treated, because it's not right. And it's not okay to just keep letting, even if it don't affect you. Like in my case, it never affected me. On a big scale, it's like, okay, I'm getting my money, I'm going home, I'm eating, I'm traveling, I'm good, I'm fine, I don't care. But it, as we've seen, it conditions them and allows certain other consequences and other repercussions to happen because of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we almost like make them into that, in a sense.
Yes, we do, because they condition us early, like from children, as you talked about, and like me, my particular spirit, I just don't have it in me to put up with no low grade, low energy, backwoods racist. I don't have the energy for it. I can't be around them, sister. I can't. I won't even hold a conversation with them, because they couldn't be on my level on a conversation.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I know them kind of people. Trust me. I know them kind of people. I know them, like, trust me. I can't deal with them. I can't.
You can't do it, huh?
I can't do it. And the thing is, I'm listening to you talk. You know, you seem like you're very, you know, smart. You know, and I'm like you. I plan. I don't just jump out and do anything.
Yeah,
I plan it. But if I'm in a situation where I say, man, I got to get away from here, because your environment can stifle you too.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't like a bunch of ignorant racists around me having any kind of power around me. I don't like that either. I know you're going to deal with that in America, but at least if I'm going to deal with it, let me deal with the racists that got a little bit more intelligence.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They say, look, I'm not trying to get a lawsuit by letting her go talking about Black Lives Matter. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But just like I said, just with just, I don't know, it just bothered me when you asked that man, was it because of my hair? Like,
everybody was like,
oh, that ran through me.
I know everybody's like, why did you ask that? And I'm like, man, I said I gotta explain.
Because of conditioning, though.
Yeah, it's like, I know
to do that.
Any black female will say, because I have a friend, like, she works at a bank, and she said we talk about it all the time. She's like, I just got these braids done, and I know they're gonna be asking, and even like that's what I'm saying. It's crazy the things that we have to deal with. Like, if I would change my hair, or you know, I would change my hair all the time, and it will always be this big ordeal. It would be like, oh, what's your hair? How did you do that? And it's not just curiosity. It would be like a petting show kind of. And it's just like, it's hair, baby. Like, what are you? And it's so hard, because one, I don't really care. I have the attitude where it's like, I'm focused. I know I'm here to make money. I know what my goals are. So it kind of come off as like, maybe like I don't care. But it's just like, I'm not going to entertain that. Like, if that's something like you want to talk about this, like, we're not going to talk about that. Let's talk about something else. So I just be like, okay, you know, this is what it is, and try to move on, because it's like, I'm not going to sit here and entertain foolishness to the point to where you feel like you've never seen a Black woman wear her hair like this, because it's 2020. They're all older than me. I'm 20. I was 25. My boss, he had to be like close to 60, 58, 60. The receptionist, probably like 58, 60. And then the tech was like 34. Y'all have been living multiple years before me. So I know y'all have, not only have y'all seen Black women wear their hair like this, y'all seen them wear it every
Sister Jamila. So basically what you're telling me is that you're working around a bunch of freaking Karens.
Basically.
Oh my God. Karen is so jealous of Black women. I'm telling you, Karen, because the worst ones to be around when it comes to them is the Karens, because they didn't hit the wall.
Right.
I mean, they hit the wall, and they the worst racists too. Because when they lose their looks and they hit the wall, oh man, you in trouble. And then you have a Black woman like yourself come around,
That's what one of my friends said. They was like, you changed your hair, and they had to feel some type of way. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, they can't do nothing. They like bland. They don't have no flavor to them. They don't know what they had. They probably been wearing the same hairstyle for 50 years. And then you come up there, natural hair. You come up here braiding your hair. You may come up
every day. It was
whatever.
Different.
You doing something different, and they looking at you like just with contempt and hate. You go in the sun and you got all that melanin. You don't burn, and they just looking at you. I mean, because I've seen on jobs how women like that, they hate Black women.
So crazy.
And let me ask you another question. Have you experienced on jobs? I've seen that when Black men, like, they have an attractive Black woman on the job, and they were talking about the woman in his community, and they just trying to get at her, and the white women would get mad that this Black woman getting attention from the men in her own community. Have you experienced
really? No.
Have you experienced that?
No, not unfortunately, but I guess because like I say, most of the time I am the only Black person. Okay. Yeah, so I'm trying to think about a time that I've seen a Black male, and that's another thing that's not represented in physical therapy good is Black males. I'm trying to, let me think really hard. I know of one Black occupational therapist, and one Black PTA. He graduated with us. But as far as working with Black PTAs or PTs, OTs, OTAs, no, I can't. No. So that's never, I've never seen that, and it's never happened to me, just because the Black male representation is poor within our field, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think you need to work, if you're gonna work in that field, try to work in areas, where people have a certain amount of money that's in that field. You know what I'm saying? And not so ignorant.
Right.
And I think you would have, let me see. Now Jackson, that's predominantly Black, right?
For the most part, yeah.
Most part? Okay. Do you have any Black-owned companies that's in your field or in Jackson?
Not that I know of.
That you know of?
That I know of, and I would definitely know, because pretty much they would have reached out by now, and then not only that, but it would have been something that the Black therapists that I do talk about, we would have talked among ourselves. So I don't think that they do, and it's not, which is not common really for the therapists to have their own clinics right now. Like, the big thing right now is for outside companies to source out. Unfortunately, I guess just because of the way big business has been going, a lot of therapists, when they graduate from school, instead of opening their own clinic, they go work for the company. So it's not a lot of people going back into the community and opening their own business with therapy anymore, that I've seen. A lot of the ones that are still like the outpatient clinics that are small business, like how my old boss's business was, is older white males.
Okay. So let me ask you
here in Mississippi.
Yeah, okay. Now listen, just me, and it's just my opinion, and like I said, I'm just giving it to you. You need to run, sell that house, get your money,
and get out.
And then when you got your 20% down for somewhere else, and you need to get away from there. You're too smart for them people. You got too much going for yourself to be around them people. All they gonna do is put you in a glass ceiling.
Definitely.
And just for you shouldn't be worrying about no hair. how you
Right.
talk, how you look, none of that. That's dumb. This is 2020. Some of them people live like in the 50s.
Thank you. I agree. And this situation, it definitely woke me up. And that's one thing too, you become complacent. I felt like before, because I was only there for 6 months, because another thing I've only worked 4 years, but I've had like 7 jobs. And this is the first time I've ever been fired. It was because I feel like in certain situations, I would start feeling that, what you say, like feeling that ignorance, that race, like little things. And I would just go. I would just be like, okay, well, I'm gonna go work here. I'm gonna go do this. I would just move instead of taking to the issue that, okay, where is it? Like, what is it? What is it actually? Is it just this job? But if I go to this job and then I go to this job and it's kind of the same thing, it has to be the area or the state. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
and
a
so
state.
Definitely,
Look,
this has woke me up.
Jamila, I have a lot of friends from Mississippi, and all of them came to Houston. And these men have said, listen, if I stayed in Mississippi, I wouldn't have had a thing. He said, I come out here to Houston. They got, great jobs. Their wives moved from Mississippi. Everybody, like, that's why I mentioned, have you been to Atlanta?
Oh, yeah. Houston,
Atlanta is great places for Black people.
Definitely. And I've been thinking about it. I don't know. It's not that I'm a late bloomer. I'm very slow. I don't know what the word of that is, but it takes me time. I like to write things out.
I promise you, if they stick you in a faster environment, you adapt. I know you will.
Oh, no, it's not that. It's just, I don't know. I feel like maybe it's control. It's probably my personality type. I just like to know. But what I'm learning with this, it's like God then put some fire under me. Like, I got you regardless. So don't worry about all this.
That's right.
Just go, and it's hard for me to listen.
You in a good position. You have no kids.
Right.
So you ain't got nobody to hold you back. If you want to pack up today and go somewhere, you can.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's a beautiful thing that you didn't get caught up in situations like some people your age got caught up in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And dealing with a baby daddy and all that other problems that go along with that. So you could say, man, forget it. I'm leaving. I'm out. And let me tell you about family too. Family gonna be there. And if you want to fly your family where you at, or you want to go back and see them, airplanes work every day, cars drive if you got one. I mean, don't feel like you losing anything. Even you can go into the continent of Africa. Like I said, I'm a firm believer of that. I love it. And I'm pretty sure you would like it. You could take that same physical therapy you're doing right here in the U.S. and create businesses like this overnight over there. You know what I'm saying? The world is open to you. You have your passport?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I've been to Costa Rica. And see, that's the thing. I'm not scared of change. Like,
good.
Last year, I went to Costa Rica by myself, went with strangers that I didn't know for 10 days. 10 days was down there, stayed in hostels. I cried. I didn't want to come home. Like, it was the best trip of my life thus far. So I'm very culturally aware, and I've traveled enough to where, I know. I guess it's just one of them things. So how we each have things we have to work on. I think it's one of the things that God, been working on me. Like, okay, and He's shown me just go. Like, at the end of the day, like even with that job, like I was, you battle like, okay, how long am I gonna stay here? Or what is this really gonna be? And it's like He showed me, revealed to me how they were, and like, okay, this is what it is. Opportunities are going to come, because ever since then I've had a lot of different opportunities, and it's just like they're going to come. I'm going to take care of you. Just go where your heart is. So I feel like my next big thing is to figure out where it is that I want to go, whether it's the opportunity or where my heart is just telling me like that's where I want to settle down, or not even settle down. That's where I want to be for the next couple of years, whatever. But that's definitely my goal is to get. It's always been my goal, but even more so now. I hope by the beginning of next year, I won't be here. I could hopefully rent my house out, and be able to go.
Make it an Airbnb, one or two.
Definitely, because it's it's close to. That's another reason I chose Hattiesburg. It's close to the college, so it would be perfect to rent out, the college students by the room. So.
Right, and like I said, that's good. That's good that you're world traveling, and you just seeing different things. And say, make sure you get to the continent though, because that's gonna be an eye-opening experience for you when you get there. Whatever country you choose, Make sure you get there. And but you know what? I think you're gonna do good. I think because every time I've been fired from jobs, let me tell you about my experience. Every time I've been fired, it's been great for me to get fired because every time I went to something better. Every time.
Right.
So with you being fired, they did you a favor.
That's
right?
what everybody says too.
Yeah, they did you a favor. In your next situation, you're not gonna put up with certain things. You're gonna choose better. You're gonna be wiser, smarter, and I know you do great, sister. So I don't even worry about those people. Let them be ignorant,
Right.
And they ignorance. And I'm pretty sure they had Trump paraphernalia all over the place, right?
Oh, not even that. They used to talk about it all the time. So when he would talk about the Chinese virus and what did he call? He called it the Korean something or the Chinese virus, and they were in there discussing, like, backing it up, saying, "Oh well, yeah, it did. That's right. That is what it is. It did come from them. That's an attack. They attacked us." And I'm just like, okay. Of course I don't say nothing. And then we will have Medicare and Medicaid patients, and they will always make comments like, these people that's on Medicaid and Medicare, they come in here and don't show up. They would just make little sly remarks, and I'm just like, those people, okay, what is that? And I'm just like, I know you. That's why when in the conversation I told them, don't be disrespectful. I'm the only Black person, because it's like they forgot, or not that they forgot, they just didn't care enough to say, okay, let me just not talk about these things because this can affect her. Like, this goes against, her as a person, unfortunately, against my color, which it shouldn't.
No, they don't care about you like that. You giving them way too much credit. They don't care about you. You N-word to them. They said that plenty of times behind your back. Trust me. That's
what my mom said too. She was like, it's probably no telling the conversations that they had, because I would never really eat lunch in there. And see, that's the thing. Like, it's like I kind of knew, because I would always eat in my car. I would always go and leave. They would stay there and talk and ghetto, and they would ask me to go with them sometimes, or whatever, but I just didn't feel. I knew that they weren't for me, and the reason I knew that they weren't for me is because some of the things that they would say, like, if you're proudly a Trump supporter and you know what Trump stands for, I know you don't care about me, because he don't care about us or care about me. So it's like, I kind of already know that, so I don't want to get close to you because I know how you are. But now I know to not stay. You learn everything from different situations. Now, it's like, not all money is good money. Not all certain situations is just, okay to just stay in. And for that's something I will never, ever, like, put myself through again. And not just because of me, but I feel like that allows them to go back into the community and do that to another Black person and treat another Black person like that, because I didn't stop it or say anything or speak up. Oh, just because I want to check, or oh, just because, it doesn't matter to me. I can go home and I can still not cry or not eat. Because a lot of people message me and they say they were in, like, one girl, she'd been out of job for like 10 or 15 years. And she say she deals with stuff every day and she goes home and cry, and it's just like, even though I might have dealt with certain things, it never affected me. So either I would forget, or I just be like, F you, like, who are you? I don't care. I don't care. But it's no longer about the I don't care, or, even be sad about certain things. Now it's time for action. Like, it should have been time for action, but I'm woke. I'm awakened now. And I know I'm not going to allow people to talk in certain ways in front of me and not address it. And I'm not going to allow certain things to go down in front of me and not address it either. Even if it makes it an uncomfortable situation, I'm going to go through with that because it's what's right. And it's what I should have been doing. It's what we all should be doing. But, sometimes it takes a situation to really open you up and see, like, that's not the way to go.
Right. And like I said, I've been through those situations, and now, like, at this stage in my life, I just have a certain energy. They don't even talk to me in certain because it's just like, if you bring it, I'm gonna give it to you. I will hurt your feelings, and don't think twice about it, because I love me, okay, and I love everything about me. Nothing about me I hate at all. Right. And when you that kind of Black person, I ain't worrying about what they thinking. They say they ain't not the furthest from my mind, especially those kind of people, right? I mean, listen, I'm like this. I'm cool with anybody that's cool with me. You love me, I love you. You hate me, I hate you times two. That's how I feel. I don't turn the other cheek with nobody. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So that's how my dad is. That's definitely how my dad is.
Yeah, yeah. They expect us to be loving them and forgiving them, and I don't forgive them for nothing. You know, you want me to forgive you for anything, you got to pay me my reparations.
Right.
That's there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Sure, we need our reparations, sister. Big time.
Yes, we do. Yeah, my grandma and papa, they need that. They
Yeah,
was having
right.
to deal with all that, having to drink out the color
Before I
fountains. And
before I wrap up, let me ask you one last question about the Mississippi state flag. You know, what's the child of Mississippi about that flag? It's gone
oh,
away.
it's yes. Governor Tate Reeves he signed the bill, and so they're working on a new flag from now, I guess, until September, to come up with a design for us to vote for November 3rd. So that's the new bustle. As far as like the flags being taken down, I'm driving, I'm still seeing them in people's yards. I'm still seeing them up at the courthouse, up at the school. So, I'm wondering when they're going to make an issue for all of them to be removed. That's my thing, that I'm just curious about, because I help volunteer, to take them down. But that everybody's happy. Like everybody I talk to, even white people, like that's another thing too. I don't want to. It's not all white people, but it's those specific ones that are so toxic that just make it bad for everybody else. And even a lot of white people I've talked to, they say the same thing. Like that flag does nothing. They want it taken down as well. Majority of them. So it's just those handful. It's just those handful that are being assholes about it, basically, and don't want they say their heritage and their history, whatever.
I hate that mess. Our heritage. Man, like I was saying before, they celebrate the biggest L in history. You lost.
Right.
I've never seen a group of people celebrate a loss.
Right. I know.
Like your history is losers. Your history
is losers.
And you celebrating being a loser? Who does that?
It's crazy.
Check this out. So the other day I seen a video in Shreveport, Louisiana. One of them had a shirt that says heritage is not hate, but then the same person was calling a black woman the N-word in the same video with a shirt that says heritage is not hate.
The contraindication, like seriously, like that makes no sense. Because that's what she did. Obviously, you're wearing a shirt, but that's what you're showing. So you're contradicting yourself. That makes no sense.
That's what I'm saying. I can't be around them kind of people. Oh no, I spot them a mile away. I'm pretty sure you spot them a mile away. You should see, a lot of them, especially when they wear them ball caps and they bend the brim of that ball cap. Oh Lord,
I've been going out with them protesting. Like ever since, because after everything happened, I told him in the audio, like you could hear me say, this isn't right. The news going to be here. Everybody's going to hear about this because, this isn't right. And if you feel like, you can sleep at night and you've done something good, then good for you. But this is going to be known. So that was June 1st. June 3rd, we had WLOX, News 25 out there. We were out there protesting in front of the building. He couldn't open up shop. That whole week, they only opened one day. So we shut down business for 3 or 4 days from protesting because I don't know. I guess Gulfport PD told me they thought that he called and said that he thought that vandalism was going to happen. So of course they go categorizing us thinking, because you fired me, I'm going to come up here and do something to your shop. And so ever since then, they have put tape around it, and it was just a whole bunch of just foolishness. But for like 2 to 3 weeks straight, we was like out there every day in front of the building. Like, you gonna see me, you gonna walk out, you gonna see me, you gonna have it's not just going away. And I really think that they thought they could do that, and that I was just gonna like wallow in it. But I'm not gonna lie. Seeing what happens to George Floyd on camera, that changed me. It changed me, and it's like something in me just like no more. Like for us to see a lynching happen on camera, like a modern day lynching on camera, and nothing be done. Like he got to go home for 4 days or 5 days until they arrested him. Like that's not okay. And so ever since that day was at May 20, I think I saw it on May 26th. It was like a Tuesday that I saw the video. And ever since that day, I'm just like, like before that even happened to me, I was trying to find protests. I was trying to, go to GoFundMe's, post as much as I could. I had changed my Instagram, so I didn't have that many followers at the time. I had 126 followers, but I was still posting and like we need to know, y'all need to know about this. We need to be doing something, because not only is this not right, but if we don't do something now, just imagine where it could continue to go. And so the reason I've audioed him and I did that, and the reason I've been protesting, I've been speaking out, is just because of that. It's for those people whose voices have been taken. It's for the people that has happened to multiple times, and they just go home and they have to figure it out. And it's like, no, we need to speak up about this and highlight what's going on in Gulfport, Mississippi, in Mississippi, period, and around the world, because the more we bring awareness, I feel like that's where change starts. Like, you have to actually talk about it. And that's where I lacked before. But, now it's like I'm going hard with that. Like, I'll never stop doing that.
Yeah, sister, and that's good. I'm glad it got some fire underneath you. Like I said, George Floyd, that video messed me up for a few days. I was sick and before. I wanted to get on the first flight out of here to Africa. I really wanted to that day. I was like, I just felt so sick just being in this country, just looking at how that brother was done. You know what I'm saying? It's just it was just, I don't know, like, because for me personally, Africa is my place where I go and just deprocess all the evil and wickedness of America.
Yeah.
And then once I deprocess, I can come back. But now I'm like, hey, I'm working on trying to get my dual citizenship. I'm not trying to just stick doing to this place here. This place is wicked. And I can't stand how wicked this place is, sister. I mean, it's like it's perpetually going down, and our people, I don't want our Black people to get caught up in their mess and their judgment, because they dealing with it right now. We don't need to get swallowed up in it.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I agree. Like that video, it changed, and I feel like it changed a lot of people for the good, for the better. But it had, like you say, it's shown, it's like we've gone down here, like all these Karens keep coming up, all these incidents, even with Rayshard Brooks in Atlanta, like that happening. And then like before I saw that, a day before I saw that, I saw where this white guy like literally beat up a police officer in the woods, took his car, and the cop was like trying not to shoot him. Like he did everything to not shoot him. And it's like he was white and he was able to live. But the next day, Rayshard is dead. Like he can't go home. He didn't get the same liberty. And it's like, for that to happen, and then we keep seeing things, like it not only hurts, but it just makes me feel disgusted. Like you say, like, why are we even here? What's the point in being here when they don't support us? They don't hear us. We've been peacefully protesting, everybody across, and like nothing's being done actually. In the gist of things, it's like that's not even really helping.
Yeah, I'm with you, sister, 100%, definitely. But sister Jamila, tell people in case they want to, maybe contact you, or even somebody they got a physical therapy job somewhere in the country may see this and they be like, hey, I'm gonna reach out to this sister. How can people get in contact with you?
Oh, so my Instagram is _XOXO Mila with 3 A's, and my Facebook is Jamila Swopes. It's my name. My email address is Jamila, my first name. My name will be shown on here, right?
Yeah, yes. We'll make sure
it's my first name my last name @gmail.com.
Okay, yeah, we'll make sure to put the information also in that pinned comment where people can click it and go to your Instagram page and things like that, or Facebook, etc. So Sister Jamila, let's say thank you, definitely for joining us and sharing your story. And like I said, I know you're gonna do good. I know you will. I got a lot of confidence in you just based off how you're coming across. And then that's a good thing. And like I say, stay in touch, because like I said, we definitely like to find out what happened with you. We
of
don't
course, yeah, because we're still waiting. I had to talk to a couple lawyers, and it's difficult because of the free to will work. We're a right to work state, and that he's covered under that law. And so trying to prove the discrimination is very difficult right now, but we're waiting on unemployment, because if he tries to deny that, then we can basically go to court off that. So we're waiting on that. His business has been slow. People have been emailing in there. I appreciate like all the support across everywhere, because they have slowed him down so much to where I recently just got a death threat like last week. somebody texted my phone and was like, stop or we'll come get you. So I know it's affecting them. And, you know, that makes me happy. I don't know if I should be happy about, not the death threat, but it makes me happy that just as he tried to hurt me by doing that, you know, me speaking my truth has turned around and it's hurt him. So it's like, ha ha, joke's on you, actually.
Well, do you practice your Second Amendment rights?
What do you mean?
Do you know the Second Amendment?
No, oh yes. I had to think about it.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right. Well, make sure you keep your legally obtained firearm on you at all times. Say, and if you bring it over here, I got something for you.
Right. I was gonna say, so the funny thing about that is I've never actually shot a gun. So we're going to do that. You know, I am secured up everywhere else, but you know, we're supposed to be going to do that. And you know, I have family with me constantly, so they have all that. But you know, me, it was something that I thought I didn't. I don't know.
I'll tell you what, like if you get to shoot this one, you could try these out if you go to the range. You can try a Glock 17. Like my wife likes the Glock 17. A baby Desert Eagle. They call it Baby Eagle. Those shoot pretty accurate too. You know, so you can try multiple ones. You know, you should get your concealed.
My dad was telling me a 9, like a Smith and Wesson.
Smith and Wesson.
Yeah, that's what he was telling me. He has multiple guns, so he exercises his right, his Second Amendment. He has so many, but
yeah, we need to get with daddy and start getting to the range.
I never thought I would need. I don't know. It's not. I don't know. I guess
all
I was just
African Americans need to practice Second Amendment rights.
I see. Unfortunately, that it has to be like that. But I'm like, it's crazy.
True. African Americans need their level 4 body armor and everything else too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because these people expect us to be victims all the time, and then when we show up, or like you see groups like the Panthers or whatever have their guns, you notice how they back off.
Right.
They don't mess with you because they thinking, oh, you ain't got nothing, so we gonna go mess with you. So you never take no threats from them lightly. Say no.
That's what we did. So that's exactly what we did. But when I got that, I was like, okay, so we doing something right. It's like one of the things when you like, because I feel like if it wasn't that big of a deal, then they wouldn't be reaching out. They wouldn't be saying anything. But it's like, okay, it has hurt your business. It has to have affected you in some sort of way. So even if right now we couldn't, serve the papers to him right now, it's still affecting him. So I am actually happy about that. So get
your lawyer to trace that, get them to trace that, because that's a criminal offense. Sending you something like that.
Right.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. So Sister Jamila, let's say once again, we thank you for coming on, and you stay blessed.